Matthew's early Jewish community were being persecuted. They were trying to work out how to be Christian, now not involved with the synagogue or in the temple. They had been kicked out because they were followers of Jesus, and they were being persecuted. And so in this gospel, Jesus is trying to reassure those early Christians not to be afraid. In fact, 3 times in the gospel today, that very short passage, 3 times Jesus says, "Do not be afraid," because they were fearful for their lives, literally. The only thing that overcomes fear is trust. But fear in itself is not a bad thing. Fear can stop us from doing stupid things. I often see in the Sky City, the Sky Tower, people at the top doing that bungee down. I would never do anything as silly as that because I'm afraid of heights. And that fear is not a bad thing. In a sense, it prevents us from doing foolish things. So fear in that sense is a good thing. But fear can also paralyze us and can stop us from doing things. I'm afraid to get up and speak in public, so I won't do it. Fear paralyzes us from risking or doing new things. In that sense, fear is not a good thing. It paralyzes. So fear can both be a good and positive thing. It's a normal emotion to be afraid of something, and that warns us against perhaps danger or something that could go wrong. But fear can also, as I say, paralyze us. But the thing that conquers fear is trust. If you think about Mary, remember, the angel appears and he says, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for the child that is within you has been conceived by the Holy Spirit." She was clearly afraid of the appearance of this angel. But at the end of that conversation, what does she say? "Let it be done unto me according to your word." She conquers that fear with trust, trusting that what the angel says will happen and everything will be okay. Joseph is no different. Joseph is there, he's having a dream, and he's contemplating divorcing Mary quietly so she doesn't experience shame. And what happens? An angel appears. And what does the angel say? "Do not be afraid, Joseph, to take Mary as your wife." And after that, Joseph conquers the fear by taking Mary as his wife, by trusting that what God has said will happen. God himself, Jesus, in the Garden of Gethsemane, he's praying, "Please let this cup pass from me." He is afraid of what is about to happen. And yet what does he do? He conquers fear with trust. He trusts in the Father's will. If it must happen that I drink this cup, then he will. So trust conquers the fear that paralyzes us. For many in this world, they live in a country where they can't do what we are doing now, gathering to worship. Any kind of worship, let alone Christian worship, they can't gather for fear that they will be executed. Executed. Can you imagine coming here this morning, risking being executed for doing so? For us, it's unfathomable. We can't understand that. But for many in the world, it is their reality. And yet, in many of those countries, they choose to quietly but surely live and proclaim the faith. We live in a relatively safe country. You're going to be able to walk out of here this morning and go and have brunch somewhere. Go and meet up with family and friends. There's no worry that you're going to be executed for being here this morning. But we live in a very secular country, in a country where Christian values are slowly but surely being eroded. We no longer live in a Christian country, I would dare say. We might sing God Defend New Zealand, but how can we, when we are ending life unnaturally with euthanasia, we do not live in a Christian country. How can we when we don't respect life in all its shapes and forms, from the moment of conception to natural death? We do not live in a Christian country. Those values are slowly but surely being eroded. And so for us as Christians, sometimes we can be fearful of speaking up, of speaking out, of living our faith. You might not be persecuted and killed for it, but you may feel shame, embarrassment for it. And what Jesus says to those first disciples, do not be afraid. 3 times, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Because they were likely going to be persecuted for being Christian. Jesus says to you and to I today that live in a very secular country where those Christian values are disappearing, where it is easy to be an undercover Catholic. Jesus says to you, as he says to me, do not be afraid to live, to proclaim your faith, because the world needs you now more than ever to proclaim the gospel. It is easy when you're at university just to go with everybody else in the group. When you're at work and gossip starts to happen about another person, it is easy for us just to go with the flow. But Jesus says to them in the gospel and to us today, do not be afraid to live your faith, to proclaim the truth, as I say, in a world today that needs it more than ever.